Hello.
Greetings, I'm Takras, and here together with Mathieu from IELLO Games.
Hi.
Yeah, or is it like this?
Yes, like this. I don't want to make you sick.
Ah, okay. So we're here today with IELLO, and IELLO has a huge announcement of games this year. How many games are there?
We have 7 new titles.
7, yeah.
But we had 5 games in German that were not released in German before. They're not really new for us because they were released in French and English before, but they're new to the Germans.
And all the games look so amazing for me. But that is, of course, because of the artwork. You can see here briefly. So, do you have the same artists for all the games, or how did you find them? Because they are all they all look similar in a kind of way.
Yeah, well, it's I think we are lucky enough in France to have a lot of great artists, and it's easy for us to just meet some and find some. We don't work only with French artists.
Yeah.
We also browse the internet and DeviantArt to find new artists. But I think where we're pretty good at is at looking at the work on artists and thinking, okay, this is not what we're looking for, but we think this artist could do what we really want for this game.
Yeah.
And another thing that I think make our art quite good is that we have a good idea of what we want, but we leave a lot of freedom to the artists, so they can fully express their style, and that shows on the game.
Yeah. So do the artists know about how the game plays before they draw it, or?
Most of them we have we do a game with them. We play a game with them on the prototype. So for some it matters more or less, but most of the time, yes, we meet with the artist, if we can, with the artist and the designer, so they can talk to each other and play the game.
Yeah, that sounds like the best solution.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's always necessary, but it helps a lot.
Yeah, because there are always these minor details in the art that references to its own mechanics. And so like if you take pictures from the internet into a game, like open license images, it doesn't feel right.
Yes, it doesn't integrate as well, and we see the difference when we work with artists that has never worked on a board game before, because they don't know these details and how the arts must be useful in a game. And after 2 or 3 games, you can see that the artist thinks about those kind of things from the start.
Yeah, so great artwork. I really love it. So, what is the direction of IELLO from now on? Is it still remaining on these smaller games, or do you have any big box games?
We have some big box games like Oceanus, but from most of us at IELLO, we are hardcore gamers. We have a lot of games at home. We have huge boxes, Ameritrash or Eurotrash games. But personally, I feel a little bit frustrated when I look at some of those games, and I love that game, but I played it only twice this year.
Yes,
it's a bit frustrating. So what we want to do at IELLO is make games that people play easily, and that are easy to take off the shelf and on the table. And to achieve that, we need games that are beautiful, so your friends, want to play them when you show them the cover. That are not too long. We're trying to focus at games that around 1 hour or less. That are easy to learn and to remember. We don't want people to spend 30 minutes reading the rules each time they want to play the game. And that are all, of course, fun and enjoyable, so they want to play it again and again. So that's our main focus. Saying that, that can be true for small games or for big boxes. We have these mini games, this micro game series, the small white boxes, like Welcome to the Dungeon and so on. But it's not. It's one of our series, but it's not all what we do. So we always keep what I said in mind, but it's still a pretty large panel of possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah. But as a gamer, I look at Yellow, and I think exactly what you said. Easy to take on the shelf because of the art. It's amazing. Great contrast on the colors. And the game is very easy to explain.
Yeah. So, sometimes people get the wrong idea about Yellow because in France we translate heavier games like CG games. You know, we release through the ages in French. So sometimes they think that that's what we do. No, actually that's what we play sometimes, but not what we as a company do.
Yeah. So you have the IELLO brand on the CGA titles for France?
For France, yes. Yes, so that's why it's sometimes confusing.
Okay, yeah, for me as Norwegian, I look at the English versions, so I didn't know about this. Okay. Yeah. But I can see how that is confusing. Okay, but let's take a look at your new releases this year.
Yeah. Okay. So Kanagawa is the new game by Bruno Catala and Charles Chevalier. It's the couple who made the Abyss game before. And it's illustrated by a young artist from Switzerland named Jade Mosch. In this game, what you want to do is paint the most beautiful painting and try to impress your master. On the center of the table, there's this board, this bamboo board, that represents the school where you're going to learn new skills. So at the beginning of each round, you place as many cards as players on the first row. Anytime you must place a card on a red space, you place it face down. Okay, so here's the setup for a 4-player game. At that time, each player can choose either to take a card that's interesting for him, or to wait and take more cards later, but maybe leave the cards here for other players. So let's say one player take a card, then on the next turn you place card on the second row. Then if players want to take cards, they take the full column, so they take 2 cards. Okay, so you do that 3 times, and in the end all the players must have taken one set of cards, so from 1 to 3 cards, and all columns must have been taken. Okay. So whenever you take cards, you must play them immediately in front of you. Each card can be played 2 different ways. The first one is to continue your painting. You just slide the card just under the previous one, and it continues your painting. The other way to play a card is to rotate it and play it into your workshop, like this. So the workshop is just underneath your painting, and it's what you need, the skills you need to continue your painting. I'll explain that. You see the small icons over there? They're matching the different background on the paintings. Here you need a yellow icon to paint this card. Okay, for this one you would need a green one. And to activate those, you use your little brushes that you put on the right circle. You start the game with 2 brushes, and you can move 1 brush to any other space per turn, per arrow you have like this. You can win more arrows to move more brushes and get more brushes too. But you really have to try to get every background you need to continue your painting. So here, for example, I could that, and if I needed to put that, I could move my little brushes here. There are different skills over there. So I said more brushes, more arrows. You can start to become the first player. The play order is quite important in the game, as it's important to be the first to pick cards. And the game ends whenever a player plays his 11th card. Okay? Or if the stack runs out, it happens also. Whenever this happens, you score points, and the first thing is that you score 1 point per card in your painting. So the longer your painting is, the more points you get. Then you score bonus points for those little icons. Okay, they can be either in the painting or in the workshop. You score no points for the workshop, as you can always put cards in the workshop. There's no requirements. It's the cards in the painting that are important. You also score points for each card in the longest season you have. So if I show you the painting part of a card, there's the background. I told you about that. That is the requirements you need to paint the card. There's the season over here. So there's 4 seasons, and the goal of the game is to try to make the longest season to get points. And here there's always a subject, or sometimes a subject. That can be an animal, a character, a building, or a tree. Those are used to win diplomas during the game. Whenever you meet the requirements for a diploma, you can choose to take it or to leave it. But if you leave it, you can't take it any longer. Okay? You can always take only 1 diploma per color. So for example, if you reach 4 trees and you decide to take the card, if you place another tree later in the game, you wouldn't be able to take this one. So you have to choose if you want to play it safe or greedy. Okay? The diplomas, so it gives you points for different buildings, for the right combinations of animals, for different or identical characters, and for the number of trees you have. That's for the painting, the diplomas related to the painting. And those are for the workshop, so 3 or 4 brushes, 2 or 3 arrows, and 2, 3 or 4 identical background skill. And that's about it. There's a small bonuses, the storm that allows you to they're working as wild cards for season, so you can make a longer season, or sometimes join two separate season of the same type. But basically that's the game. So this is Oceanos by Antoine Boza. It's his new family game of underwater exploration. Each player is the captain of his own little submarine here, and what you want to do is explore the sea and find the most beautiful thing underwater. During the game, which is played in 3 rounds, you will explore the sea deeper and deeper. This is actually what each player will get at the end of the game in front of him or her. Okay, you will play 3 rows of cards in front of you, and each player will have this kind of photograph of his exploration and what he or she saw during it. The core mechanism is a kind of drafting mechanism, card drafting system, where the leader, the exploration captain, which changes each turn, deal cards to the player depending on the number of periscopes they have in the submarine. You can upgrade each of the 5 parts of your submarine, but you start with 1 periscope, so you get 2 cards. It's always 1 card more than the number of periscopes you have. So the dealer deals cards to the other players, who look at the cards and pick 1 to play and give the other back to the dealer. So the dealer will get cards from all the other players. Usually it will get more cards than the other players, but it will only be the cards that they didn't want to play. Okay? Then each player plays the cards in front of him or her to continue his exploration. You play 5 turns per round, and at the end of the round you use this little player head to score points. So you can use a base with crystals to upgrade your submarine, for example, to get more periscopes to see more cards. Then you score points for each different animal you see, depending on the central part here of your submarine that you can upgrade to. You score points for your propeller that you can upgrade also. And you lose points for each, if you are the one with the most Kraken eyes on your row. The Kraken eyes obviously are on the best cards, so you must choose wisely if you want to use them or not. And then you can refill your gas tanks, and the gas is actually used to play more cards. Whenever you want to play more than 1 card at your turn, you just spend 1 gas token and you play an extra card. Okay. And then at the end of the game, you do exactly the same, except that in place of filling up your tank that you don't need anymore, you will score for the coral reef. So for the longest coral reef you have in your game, so the most adjacent cards with coral on them, you will score 1 point per little coral here. So that's interesting because it forces you to see not only what you do in each row, but also vertically, you know. And then you will score points for the little chest here. If you place your scuba diver, you can place a scuba diver on any card with a chest when you play it, and at the end of the game they take the chest on the card and on all the cards on their way up. Okay, and for each chest you can draw a little treasure token that is worth 2, 3 or 4 points. So at the end of the game you make the total of your points, and whoever has the most wins the game. So Rent a Hero is actually our own version of AEG's 7th hero. We change all the arts, but the rules are still the same. What you want to do in the game is recruit 6 different heroes from the 7 in the game. You start the game with 2 random heroes in front of you to start with, and each player will be the first player taking turns. When you're the first player, the first thing you do is you flip the first card from the draw deck, and you look at the small requirements here. So here it says the number of players are lower. So let's say we're playing a 4-player game. It means that I must send a hero from my hand whose value here is lower or equal to 4. Okay, you've got different requirements. So this one is an odd value, okay, or 3 or lower, and so on. So once I flip the cards, I take a card from my hand and I put it face down in front of the player on my left. Okay. This player must choose either to recruit this hero by just revealing the cards, or if you want to let it go, let it pass to the other player, to the next player. To decide if he wants to recruit or not, he can look at the requirements I had. So no, he knows this card is it's 3 or lower, okay, because I add 2. And he can look at his own game. If he doesn't have any cards, any 1, 2 or 3 heroes, he knows it's safe. If he has one, let's say I have a 1 in front of me here, he can use one of his cards in hand to get an hint from the first player. So he secretly shows it to him, and the first player must tell him if it's the same or not. Okay. If I let go let pass the hero, the next player can do the same. So you can get hints also from what the other players did. If I ask an hint to the first player, and then I let go of the hero, you can think that it's a hero that I already own. So if you look at the cards in front of me, you get a better idea of what it might be. If the hero goes around the table, the first player has to recruit it. So you can also try to guess if it's what it's counting on or not. It's always dangerous to send a hero you already have recruited, because if you recruit a hero that you already own, like this for example, you must discard both. So you lose one hero. Okay? If you didn't have it, you can add it to your group of heroes, your band of heroes, and that's how you can try to reach 6 different heroes and win the game. Now each hero has its own little power. For example, the Pyromaniac allow you to discard the Vagabond hero. The Vagabond hero is the card that is moving around the table. So whenever a player says, okay, I'm gonna recruit this card, you can say, no, you don't. Okay, because I use my Pyromaniac to do so. So if you use a power, you just rotate the card to show that you use the power, and you can't use the power any longer. So that's also a really fun part of the game, because there's always effects that can try to deal with to counter the plans of the other player and such. And that's it. That's a really simple game, but really fun to play.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.